The Chaser Report is recorded on Gadigal land.
Striving for mediocrity in a world of excellence. This is the Chaser Report.
Hello and welcome to the Chaser Report with Dom and Charles. And Dom, unfortunately, we're going to have to do a bit of a public apology.
Oh, what have we done now?
We just need to apologise to Elon Musk.
To Elon Musk?
Yes. So a few months ago, and this is totally on me, I made the mistake, I accused Elon Musk of torturing and killing 23 monkeys through the Neuralink.
23 monkeys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember that? We did a whole very funny rave about torturing monkeys.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's coming back to me now because Neuralink it's so hard to keep track of all of his businesses.
Yeah.
Neuralink's the one where he's implanting his technology into your brain, right?
Yeah.
The one person you would definitely most trust with your own brain.
Yeah. So, and it's like through a computer chip. So his idea is, which apparently the rest of the industry has decided is a complete dead end.
Right.
His version of the technology with Neuralink is to implant a chip in your brain. It can then read all the neurons, and they basically use statistical analysis to then work out what's going on in the brain. So the way they do that is they get these monkeys to do, fairly simple computer games and things like that. And in return for computer games, they get given nice banana smoothies. And using the they then track what's happening to the neurons in the brain as they're playing that game. And very quickly, like within literally about 10 minutes, the statistical analysis of what's going on can start replicating what's going on in the brain in the computer. And so the monkey doesn't have to sort of play the game with their hand anymore. They can literally just think about what should happen, and it happens on the screen. It's quite an extraordinary technology. The reason why the rest of the industry has moved away from this is it does have a tendency to cause extreme agony in whoever's had the chip planted in their brain, tons of seizures, and ultimately rapid death.
Well, I presume, Charles, they've made the mistake of using Tesla chips. So the monkeys just navigate themselves repeatedly into the nearest wall. Is that what they do? I don't want to belittle these cruel deaths, but it's the Elon signature. More about this horrible story involving monkey agony in just a moment.
The reason why we've got to apologise, Dom, is because it turns out overnight Elon Musk has justified all the deaths by saying, actually, those first 23 monkeys that we implanted the chip in, they were already going to die anyway. So it's not really, it doesn't matter that they went through an agonising death.
They were going to?
They were terminal. I've got the tweet.
They were going to die anyway.
They were going to die anyway, which I think is true of all creatures, though. But it said no monkey has died as a result of a Neuralink implant. Now, it must be said, this is actually counter to what Neuralink admitted a few months ago.
Oh, that's a terrible mistake.
When they were applying to the FDA to be able to plant it into human beings.
Oh, God.
And the FDA, unsurprisingly, decided to deny them that request. But Elon Musk said, at first, our early implants, to minimise risk to healthy monkeys, we chose terminal monkeys close to death already. Now, everyone's saying this is a lie by Elon Musk, but I think we need to take Elon Musk at his word. I don't think he would ever lie.
No, would he lie, or would he just be completely incapable of processing human emotions in a way that would generate any empathy for the monkey?
Yeah, he just wouldn't have any sense of what the truth is anyway. So it's not really a lie if you don't know what the truth is. The reason why he's tweeted out this thing and is sort of trying to justify Neuralink is because he's also filed some paperwork, and what he's trying to do is get Tesla and Neuralink to merge.
As I was saying?
Yes. No, exactly. You were very prescient.
So, you know what, Charles? I would rather a monkey drive my Tesla than the autopilot. That would actually be an upgrade. If you can hear the rustling, by the way, that's just the lizard over there. We've got a lizard here. Have you put a chip in the lizard?
No, the reason he's bobbing his head is because it's spring, and they try and assert their dominance in spring. And so that's a male bearded dragon, and as he bobs his head, any female bearded dragon would go, ooh, ooh, ooh.
That's fun. I find myself. This is getting hot in here.
And apparently, if you're bobbing your head and you're another male bearded dragon, you see another male bobbing their head, it means, rightio, let's have a fight.
Well, this is another aspect of Elon Musk that's worth noting, is that we've just learned overnight as well. He has another child.
Oh, yes. That's and
we're gonna
a
get
great name as well. He's always good at the names.
This one's called Tau Techno Mechanicus, which is, to be honest, better than the earlier two with Grimes, which were Exa Dark Sidereal Musk. And the first one, which was X, which now is really embarrassing now that Twitter's called X. Then the A and E is shoved together, then A-X11. Yes. 12, I think that is. So XAA12. So, I mean, compared to that, Tau Techno Mechanicus is almost normal.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, well done, Elon.
It really is a form of child abuse to name your kids.
I mean, compared to the enormity of having to be Elon Musk's child, I mean, isn't that just a drop in the ocean of awfulness?
Yes, no, that's very sad. Anyway, getting back to the monkeys, we haven't finished
the real victims in all this.
So
you still haven't worked out why. I still haven't worked out why you've apologised.
So no. So I'm apologising because we accused him of killing perfectly healthy monkeys.
Oh, I see.
Whereas in fact, he only tortured and killed terminally ill monkeys, according to him.
Right.
Now, the other thing is, so they're going to merge. What he wants to do is he wants to merge Tesla with Neuralink and make it into, because his whole thing is they're basically both AI companies. So Tesla, their main selling point nowadays is that they have this FSD, what's it called? Full service driving.
It's the full autopilot.
Autopilot.
But Charles, just can I just get you on a point there? He thinks that's the main advantage of Tesla, the full autopilot. Whereas in fact, Tesla drivers hate full autopilot and fear it,
right?
And don't want to pay $10,000 extra for it, particularly given that it's never worked.
Yeah,
and that the last person on the planet you would trust with driving your family around for you is anything run by Elon Musk. People buy Teslas because petrol's incredibly expensive, and because we all want to drive electric vehicles, right? Despite the stupid full service thing. Yeah. Anyway, just a little sidebar.
So, but the whole thing, because the last time I drove a Tesla, we tried that sort of autopilot mode, and it was absolutely terrifying because every speed sign it interpreted as a stop sign. So on the freeway, which had a whole lot of lit up speed signs, it kept on trying to brake.
Yeah, it kept thinking it was a stop sign.
Yeah, it's just horrific.
And that feature costs in Australia, I think, 10 grand extra to install.
So anyway, his whole thing is, but what they're doing with that FSD, the autopilot mode, is they've completely rewritten it. They've listened to the complaints. They've had 11 versions of it. There's 12.0 is about to come out, and they've rewritten it around the same statistical principles as large language models and Neuralink, where instead of going, you know how when you do a capture, and Google always asks you, can you identify this motorcycle, or can you identify this pedestrian, can you identify... So that's the model that they've been using so far, and there's huge limits to it. For example, Tesla's FSD mode has had terrible trouble identifying non-white people as pedestrians.
Is that a bug or a feature from Elon Musk's perspective? I hate to ask, but
it's the South African...
Given some of his recent comments...
Yeah, so the point is, if you're a person of colour, you're crossing the street and you're facing a Tesla on autopilot, you got to run out of the way because it doesn't necessarily...
It won't see you. It doesn't see colour, apparently, right?
Colour. Yeah.
It's very unfortunate.
So they've completely overhauled it, and they're going, let's just do it in terms of statistical models, which is sort of like what ChatGPT is and Neuralink, right?
Yeah, and the thing about ChatGPT, Charles, is that it's often wrong. Right? It really is. We've just been researching this. ChatGPT, just to be clear, it serves up the most likely next word. It doesn't actually know.
No,
it's just making an educated guess based on probability.
Yes.
Whereas when you're driving, you don't want your car to be trying to guess whether it's a stop sign or a red light. You want it to know, right?
I know, but humans are basically large statistical machines. You're right, but humans often don't know. Right?
Yeah, but a lot less often than ChatGPT.
Yeah, but that just means that's why they need Neuralink to help them do the thing. I think I cannot possibly see what could possibly go wrong with.
Well, it's like my 5-year-old, right? very bright in many ways.
yes.
But if she doesn't know something, she'll just, like all children, it will just
they
make it up.
Make it up.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Just make it up
Yeah.
in a world where unicorns are real.
But
and that's the level that ChatGPT is on.
Have you been in a Sydney cab recently? I'm pretty sure when you ask to go
Oh,
somewhere,
no.
they don't know where to go.
No,
They just make it up.
Let's be very clear. I'll take any self-driving over a cabbie. Let's be honest.
The Chaser Report. Now with extra whispers.
So that he wants to merge the two things.
Yeah.
That sounds like, I don't quite know how, but that's maybe if I were an AI, I'd be able to work out the most likely outcome. My guess would be the most likely outcome is that it will be a screaming disaster because everything Elon Musk touches these days is a screaming disaster.
No, I think it's because Tesla still has some market value and Neuralink is rapidly becoming a boondoggle.
Right.
Because everyone else in the let's implant something in your brain sort of field of AI has gone, actually, we don't need to implant a chip. You can actually access what's going on in the brain through the bloodstream.
Oh.
So what they do is instead of implanting a chip, which it requires surgery, you need to actually just open up your brain.
I presume that's what Elon likes about it.
Yeah, that's right. But instead, you can tap into the sort of blood going in and out of the brain, like at the stem of the...
Oh, that sounds scary.
And apparently there's enough electrical signals there that you can get a pretty good map of the brain. So it's all... They've sort of gone down a bit of a dead end. So, of course, being Elon, what you do is you just completely fold it into something else to sort of, reinvent it. It's also being sued. So, the 23 monkeys being tortured and murdered, right?
I presume just before they died, having had the extra sentience from Neuralink, they retained counsel.
They retain counsel.
Yeah.
No, but they are being sued by a number of professional organisations, as well as I think the government or something is coming in because there's sort of animal cruelties and there's a whole lot of academics who also just hate the Neuralink thing. And in the lawsuit, one of the things that they've asked for is they've got video and audio of all these monkeys being tortured to death, right? And they were done in a publicly funded lab, right?
Oh.
So it's in the Berkeley labs or
Fantastic
something.
to see the government getting involved in funding Elon's little brain company.
But the Neuralink is arguing that even though it was in a publicly funded lab, they don't have to release any of these audio or video filings, which would be otherwise public because it's a publicly funded lab, because it happens to be a private corporation just renting out this space that happens to be public.
Of course,
right?
fantastic.
So, but I'll tell you what, got to see those videos.
Monkeysnuffvideo.com is where you go. It just occurs to me, if there's one thing that you know about technology, whether it's Tesla or particularly Apple, Samsung, whatever, how much of an idiot would you have to be to get a chip implanted in your brain when the next year there will be one twice as good?
Yes.
Like, what possible logic can there be for getting anything implanted in your body? This is the thing I can't understand. Like, remember that guy we interviewed a few years ago on radio who had an Opal card? That's the Sydney Transport card implanted into his wrist, right?
And then he got sued by the government for doing it.
But they were very cross.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, the government opened up being able to use a smartwatch to tap on, which you just strap to your wrist and guess what? You can take it off.
Yes.
Which is clearly far better than having an Opal card, particularly because Opal only works on buses, right? You can't use it to buy anything else. It just goes to show it's crazy to have any technology implanted in your body. That said, I do buy the idea that it would be nice if these sorts of chips, some of this technology could help, for instance, people who are quadriplegics. The theory is they might be able to help them move their body. That's what Elon says to justify what he's doing.
Yes.
But of course, he really just wants to make himself smarter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he wants to make himself smarter.
And immortal, probably, too.
And immortal. And I think also, if you're driving a Tesla, it would be great in the seconds before you get slammed into that brick wall on full service mode to be able to communicate using your brain with the car going, fuck you.
And just to send a message to Elon. Last second.
The last thoughts were... Fucking Elon.
That said, Charles, I don't know that Elon, he's 50 years old or so, 50-something now. I don't think he wants to have a long life because as soon as they're old enough, his kids are going to sue him for those names. If you think the monkeys are bad, wait till the kids sue him.
Our gear is from Rode. We're part of the Iconoclast Network. Catch you tomorrow.